Welcome to the Green Dialogue, and we have a special guest returning today, Amanda Hathaway-Frattarelli. And we met almost 30 years ago when she was an intern at
You're
Urban
not supposed to tell
Options.
people that because then they know how old I am, Leroy. Don't
Oh,
you know these
sorry,
things?
I'll stop recording and I can erase that. No, it's been a pleasure working with you, and I'm so glad you're part of these dialogues. And today you've got some good information to share, so I'll be quiet and thank you for being here, everyone.
Okay. There we go. All right. Well, thanks for letting me present today. I know you guys know me, but I'm going to give a little background anyway. I'm Amanda Hathaway-Frattarelli. I am an environmental sustainability program manager here at the Tri-County Regional Planning Commission. And the Tri-County Regional Planning Commission is a planning agency that serves Clinton, Eaton, and Ingham counties. And they work basically to make our region more prosperous by planning for sustainable transportation, infrastructure, and natural resources. And we're also the Metropolitan Planning District for the organization, or for the state, as well as an economic development district. So we receive a lot of federal funds and channel that back into our local communities. My role relates to the sustainable natural resources part of our mission. I coordinate and administer the Greater Lansing Regional Committee for Stormwater Management for Tri-County. That is a committee of 17 municipalities in the area, which includes, of course, Meridian Township, Lansing, East Lansing, Okemos, DeWitt, Delhi, Delta Townships, basically all the municipal separate storm sewer system communities within Greater Lansing. And we work cooperatively to meet the requirements of the National Pollution Discharge Elimination System permit. Because all of the MS4 communities have to get a permit to discharge their stormwater into either the Red Cedar River or the Grand River or the Looking Glass River. Those are the three major watersheds in our area. And of course, the engineers are the one who primarily implement that stormwater management plan, but the requirement for that NPDES permit is also outreach. So that is the majority of my role, besides providing administrative support for that community and its members, is to provide outreach to our communities. And really, I have the difficult job of trying to change people's behavior. So we all know that takes a long time. But I'm really pleased with the survey results because it looks like we're on track and doing a good job. So is that, as our mission is outreach, and we need to prove to both the federal government and the state government that we are meeting that mission, we must provide evaluation data. And that can come in any form, but we have chosen to conduct a water quality education survey. And we've been conducting a survey since 2006. The cycle for that permit is every 6 years. So we've conducted a survey every 6 years. So 2006, 2012, 2018, and now 2024. And you can find those all on our website as well, mywatersheds.org/ ooh, I may have to look if it's water quality survey or just surveys. But it's pretty easy to find on the website at any rate. And so you'll be able to go there and use this data for anything that helps you in your efforts to create an environmentally literate citizenry. So we have we did do a competitive bid survey process because of course that's part of the way we do business here at Tri-County. But fortunately for us, ETC has ranked high every time, and they have actually performed all 4 of our surveys. So that leads even more it gives it even more weight that not only have we conducted all these 4 surveys, but they've been conducted by the same firm, so we can really make a lot of comparisons and really study that data. And of course, they've been in the business for a long time, over 35 years. Excellent firm to work with. So as I mentioned, the purpose of the survey was to objectively assess the effectiveness of regional and local public outreach campaigns. These results help set our priorities for the region as they relate to water quality. We measure trends from previous surveys, and it helps guide the implementation of a management plan to help protect our water resources. As I mentioned, it was statistically significant with over 603 completed surveys throughout that Red Cedar River, Looking Glass River, and Grand River watershed at the 95% confidence level, plus or minus 3.99%. And it's not a short survey. It takes 10 to 15 minutes to complete. So I'm happy and proud of our citizens that they are willing to help us in this endeavor. Because everyone is really, really surveyed out. It's crazy how often you get a survey. I mean, you go to McDonald's, you get a survey. Some bottom line and positives up front.
Amanda,
Yeah.
we're still on the first slide on our screen.
Oh, no.
So maybe you need to share a different screen. We can stop share if you want, or
I might have to.
and then reshare.
Well, thanks for pointing that out.
Not a biggie. You wouldn't necessarily know if you.
Huh. Is it still saying you're still on the first slide?
Now we are on slide 5.
Okay.
It's not in the full screen mode, but you may prefer. It's showing the next slide as well. So not sure one of those buttons will get you in the full screen mode. But this is a learning. I mean, underneath the picture, maybe. I don't know. Maybe someone else knows.
I want to see all the slides.
Maybe it's up. Maybe you were right up above.
Oh, now it kicked me out.
Well, this is a learning process for all of us. Okay, now we're on the first slide.
But you can still see the little ones. Well, maybe I'll just keep them up.
I was gonna say, we can see it if you just click on the second one, then we can, because we can see it. Just click on the second slide and see if that changes it. Yeah, yeah.
Is that going to be big enough?
It was for me.
Looks
So
good here. Can everyone
Okay.
see? Okay.
Mhm.
I can see fine.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. All right. Well, anyway, some good news up front. Residents are concerned about pollution in our lakes, rivers, and other waterways. 95% are either very concerned or concerned about pollution in our waterways, and that's up 2% from 2018. 95% of residents believe that the way you maintain your home affects the quality of water. 95% of residents agree that the quality of local streams and rivers affects the Great Lakes. Excellent news. And residents do not know the location of hazardous material community collection sites. So that's something we're definitely going to work on. And residents are very willing to take personal actions to help reduce pollution. So here's how they're concerned about pollution in the waterways. You can see in the pie graph there, 56% are very concerned, 39% somewhat concerned about pollution in lakes, rivers, and other waterways here in the greater Lansing area. How does that compare with our last survey in 2018? It's increased in all the responses, very concerned and somewhat concerned. And how do you think the water quality in lakes, rivers, and streams in the community where you live is getting much better? Only 4% feel that way. 25% feel it's getting somewhat better, 41% staying the same, 27% getting somewhat worse, and 4% getting much worse. So clearly our residents are still concerned about water quality in their area. And how does that compare with the previous 4 surveys? Getting somewhat better has definitely increased, as well as staying the same. So we're definitely trending up over time. And feel free to interrupt or ask a question about any of these as we go through. Yeah, that's totally fine. Oh, I think I just went the wrong way, sorry. And more importantly, residents believe they have an effect on pollution of our waterways. So how much do you think the way you maintain your home, as in your lawn care, trash disposal, pet care, affects the quality of water in lakes and streams in the community where you live? So 38% feel it has a moderate effect and 35% a great effect. So the majority of people do feel that their personal actions are having an effect. But you can look at the other side of that coin and see that nearly a quarter of people feel that it's having little or no effect. So our job is never done. So how much do you think the way you maintain your home, that lawn care, trash disposal, pet care, et cetera, affects the quality of water in lakes and streams in your community? And these positive trends are very, they make me very happy. So people feel they're having a great effect. That's definitely increased, and it's increasing that also that they feel that they have no effect. Because we do want them to feel that they have an effect. During the past year, which one of the following items do you think contributed most to pollution in lakes, rivers, and streams in the community where you live? And I think, people perceive factories and industrial discharges as a major source. But look, it ranks almost right up there with stormwater runoff. And then agricultural operations, 9% with sewage overflow, 6% construction sites and new development. 5% are blaming it on our poor wastewater treatment facilities, and 3% realize that animal waste is a contributor. And how does that compare in previous years? Pretty closely. People still think factories and industry are the major source of pollution. Stormwater has decreased a little bit, as well as agriculture. But construction and sewage and blaming our municipal wastewater treatment facilities have all gone down significantly.
Question
Yeah,
about this item, was this a single choice item?
like could they write in something?
No, like could
Oh,
they
no.
choose more than one thing?
They could choose more than one thing.
Okay. And do we know what actually does contribute the most to the pollution of our waterways?
Stormwater runoff.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So, really happy to see that residents believe that waterways in their community are affecting the Great Lakes, because just the concept in our previous surveys, we saw that it's like 75% of the population did not know what a watershed was. So, at least if they're not understanding that, we are increasing that understanding that our actions here at home affect the Great Lakes. So here was an agree or disagree with that statement. The quality of local streams and rivers where I live affects the Great Lakes. So 61% strongly agree and 34% agreeing, and very little insignificant agreeing or strongly disagreeing. And how does that compare? To previous years, you can see a significant increase. Yeah, 7% there since the last survey. In strongly agreeing, and the disagree and strongly agree have also gone way down. Where do you think your stormwater or rainwater goes after it enters a storm drain or a roadside ditch? This is something I try and talk about a lot because, you know, people often think our storm drains are connected to our sanitary sewer system, and they're most decidedly not. Anything that's on the ground is pretty much going to wind up in our waterways. And look, 69% of the people are getting that our storm drains are connected directly to our lakes and streams and receive no treatment. Still 21% feel that it receives some treatment before being discharged into the bodies of water, and 19% still think that storm drains are being treated at the wastewater treatment plant. So like I said, our job is still not done. How does that compare in the past? We've made huge strides since 2006 in getting people to realize that anything that's going down the storm drain is going directly into a water body, and there is no treatment. So good news there. Obviously, you know, we're concerned with all sources of pollution into the waterway. We were very surprised at the data about household hazardous waste collections. So this has been pulled out. Where does your household typically dispose of materials such as oils, fluids from your vehicle, batteries, pesticides, paints, and other household hazardous waste? So 80% are going to a scheduled community collection site or facility that accepts those materials. So that's great, but we still have, if you're looking at, you know, those combined categories, a quarter of the people are either throwing it out or storing it at home, likely in an unsafe fashion. Oop. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I don't, somehow it just switched to, don't get dizzy. That's so weird. I swear I didn't hit anything. Oh, and now I don't have my mouse control either. My goodness. I don't even think you can see. Oh. I'm gonna stop sharing for 1 sec and bring that back up. Okay.
We're a pretty forgiving crowd here.
I guess
Yeah.
so. Wow, my mouse is like absolutely stopped working. Oh, there it goes again. Huh. So back to household hazardous waste. As you can see, we're really increasing the number of people, jump of 8% that go to a collection site or facility, and decreasing the people that put it in their trash or keep it in a container at home. So definitely things we want to be seeing. But here was the thing that we found disconcerting, and I'm actually already working on immediately. Why doesn't your household typically dispose of your household hazardous waste at a community collection site? And it's because they don't know about it. 58%. So again, remember the slide previously that said 80% of people are going to a collection site. But those that are not, it's because they're not aware of it. As well as, you know, not having the time, not being located near my home. And fortunately, only 4% think that household hazardous waste facilities are not necessary. So this is an example of like the GLRC, or Greater Lansing Region Committee for Stormwater Management. We're constantly working on our public education plan to educate people about personal actions they can take to reduce stormwater pollution. So as you know, right now, Meridian Township has a collection coming up, and we've got Recycle Rama, and then all of the counties also have household hazardous waste collections coming up. So I put all of those into a social media post that you may have seen it, and now I'm going to spend advertising so I can get that message to as many people as possible, because clearly I know we all have it on our governmental websites. And the information is out there, but we're still seeing, survey says it's a problem, and that people don't know where the sites are. So hopefully we shall improve that, and you won't be annoyed by seeing 8 million messages on your social media channels about household hazardous waste collection, because it's gonna be there.
Amanda,
Yeah,
this might be a good part of the dialogue session is, think getting people's perspectives on how do we raise awareness about HHW collections. So we can hold that for later, but I'm just thinking in terms of what conversation is going to be about in the next few minutes here. So hold that thought,
okay.
folks, if you think that's going to be
Yeah, that would be
useful.
great. I would
Okay.
love more input on that. So why doesn't your household participate in a household hazardous waste collection? Again, we're seeing overwhelmingly that they don't know about these facilities versus not having the time or not being near your home. But even if they don't know like how to participate in that particular way, they are very willing to help reduce pollution in our waterways. So this is how willing are you to do various things. Dispose of household hazardous waste at a community collection event, 71%. Sweep excess fertilizer and grass clippings from paved surfaces back onto the lawn, so they don't wind up in the storm drains and directly into our waters. 66%. 70% of people will promptly pick up and dispose of their pets' waste. I talked to a lot of people who are good about picking it up in public, but leave it in their yard. And if you're, next to a body of water, or, and when it rains, it's going to wind up still in the storm drains in our waters. So I definitely spend a lot of time talking about that, and we need to educate more folks on just their practices in their yard as well. Changing your washing practices, 59% of people are doing that. That's talking about car washing, because we still find people wash their cars at home, and all of that soaps and grease and grime from the car, heavy metals will wash down directly into the storm drain. Especially people frequently do it on the driveway, which connects to the road and the storm drain in that road. 57% of people will landscape with native plants. Super great. 51% of people will only use a lawn service company that uses environmentally friendly products. That seems high to me, but again, great news. 53% of people will have their septic tank serviced every 3 to 5 years. Should be serviced and inspected. So we've got some ways to go on that. And we spend a lot of time trying to promote that during Septic Smart Week, which is in September every year. And only 43% people are implementing green infrastructure on their property. I think that the survey has indicating to myself and other GLRC members that people do not understand the term green infrastructure, and we need to do more work to kind of unpackage that, because clearly then using native plants, and they may not be making that connection, that is part of green infrastructure. And how have these behaviors changed over the years? Again, we're seeing lots of increases, willing to dispose of household hazardous waste and sweep grass clippings, picking up pet waste. Car washes has stayed the same, increases in native plants. Lawn companies has steadily increased. A septic, for some reason, a bit of a decrease. So like I say, we'll keep working on that issue. And what are you doing currently? Not are you willing to, but what are you doing currently? Are you changing your car washing practices? Yes, 87%. 85% people are picking up their pet waste. 84% of people are going to a household hazardous waste collection. 82% of people are sweeping up fertilizer and glass clippings back onto the lawn. 67% of people are having their septic tank serviced every 3 to 5 years. 66% are landscaping with native plants. 56% are using lawn service companies that use environmentally friendly products. And again, only 39% are implementing green infrastructure on their property. Finding this really ironic because we tried to switch a new computer for me this week, and then they were like, no, this one has more processing speed, so you shouldn't change computers. But now my mouse isn't even working. And here's those comparisons with the previous years of what they're actively currently doing. And we're seeing lots of increases. So this really does indicate that we're changing behavior. So I'm very pleased about that. Pet waste, that's a really big problem. It's a big pollutant, especially in the Middle Grand River watershed. Because, people leave it on the ground and it's just going to wash down the storm drains and right into the river. And you do see here the big increase in implementing green infrastructure. So maybe we are making some progress, but since people are so willing to take these actions, I would really like to see that increase more. So part of the thing we need to understand when we're educating people is how they prefer to receive that education. So we ask, have they seen any advertisements, brochures, displays, or other promotional materials about water quality from these groups or campaigns? And you'll see GLRC. This is one of our signs about picking up your pet waste. And in the past, we had partnered with the Middle Grand River Organization of Watersheds on a Pollution Isn't Pretty campaign. And you still see some of the signs and materials from that. So we keep including it in our survey. But this is very surprising. So how have you seen or heard information from those groups or campaigns? And what sources did you use to obtain that information? Look at how big trail signs are. So signage really affects people. And it says trail signs, but people also, again, it's the pet waste, pick up your pet waste, please signs. Those are the signs that they're referring to, which is great that people are seeing those. And then look, newspapers, magazines, and other print. You would not expect that either. We talked with ETC about this because we're kind of thinking that probably also means online newspapers, because I can't imagine that many people are getting, their source of information from newspapers, magazines, and print a quarter. But then television news, Facebook ranks real high, exhibits at events, 15%, environmental groups, municipal websites, 13%, brochures, 13%, displays in municipal lobbies, which is something all GRC members have a display about pollution prevention sometime during the year. That's 10%. Little bit of radio at 7%, conservation districts 7%, colleges and universities 5%. And then look how low the social media is: Instagram, YouTube, X, Nextdoor, Snapchat, 3% or lower.
Amanda,
Yeah.
would that that to me says, I mean, maybe you have a slide later, but probably likely that the age range for who is doing the survey in terms of where they're finding, where they're seeing this, you know, where they're seeing the information. And my other question is, that was a comment. I have a question about in terms of like, if they found something at like the farmer's market, that would be like if the farmer's market had a brochure or something, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's a statistically significant survey, so it's based on the census. So it really is truly representative of the ages that live in our region.
Oh,
So
cool.
it's not like just all old people,
Okay, cool.
by any means. Yeah, I know. So out of those information sources, which do you most prefer learning about environmentally related content? And again, they want to see print materials or newspapers and magazines. On television news and Facebook, ranked is very highly. And the social media sites are again here toward the bottom, although Instagram and YouTube much higher than TikTok, Nextdoor, X or Twitter and Snapchat. So then we get to which social media platforms do you use? Because again, you know, more people looked at Facebook just after printed media, so that's actually a huge source. And we see that reflected again here. But look at how big YouTube is. Almost half the people are using YouTube. And that's why GLRC has focused on producing videos, because that's a lot more easy to reach people, you know, via YouTube if you have a video, and as well as with the other social media channels. And as you imagine, Instagram is much higher too. Nextdoor really looks like it would be quite an effective tool. I know we've talked about that with Green Dialogue a little more. And yeah, you see some Twitter and Snapchat, but only at 11 and 10%. So that is the end of my presentation. And you can, like I say, go onto the website and you will see every question and that we asked, and you will see specifically the ages represented if you're really interested in that, Sarah. And not only this survey, but all 4 surveys are on the website. Does anyone have any more questions before we talk about household hazardous waste?
We don't necessarily have to talk about that, but
I
that's
would
just
love
one.
to. Yes,
one,
we have to.
I'm curious if anybody here took the survey besides me.
You did? Oh, yay.
I did as well.
Awesome. Through the mail?
Yeah, it came in the mail, I
Okay.
believe. Yeah.
I think I did mine online. Anyway, comments or thoughts for Amanda?
Hmm.
So, I do not know how we can reach those people who do not know about our household hazardous waste collections better. I've kind of felt like the counties do a really good job and our townships. But that's why the GLRC is putting money into advertising on social media, because our surveys have indicated that that's a popular method for people to get their information. So I'm hoping that helps.
I'm wondering about manufacturing responsibility. I mean, you go into most of the stores in our community and you can pick up a bottle of household hazardous waste on sale. And
That's true.
you get very little information when you purchase something that's potentially toxic. And I realize that using it according to instructions is the best advice for getting rid of a chemical. according to the health department, but I'm just wondering if there's any efforts on product responsibility for household hazardous waste in other communities. So there's, learn about it when you're buying something versus after the fact when you're trying to get rid of it.
In a similar vein, I know when I was still working, my employer had a group that was very involved in local issues regarding reducing pollution and increasing recycling rates, things like that. Has the county reached out to any of the larger employers to, I'm sure others have similar programs, to try to bring this information to those people and get that word out to their employees?
Good question. I know there are some new staff people at the health department that are probably interested in maybe participating in these conversations as well. There's also a new sustainability director who may have
At the
some
health
ideas.
department?
I believe that's where she's based.
Oh,
Yeah, I can look up her number and information, but she might be a good contact.
yeah. That's a good idea to work with businesses and educating employees. Well, thanks. I'm gonna look into that further.
Some of the information that we've learned through these dialogues about early adopters and trying to reach early adopters has been sort of transformed my thinking about education outreach. And rather than beating your head against the wall, trying to convince the people that don't have a clue or don't have any interest, help support those people who are sort of trend setting. And then once you reach a critical mass of trendsetters, which it sounds like we're doing in a lot of these areas, then the ideas spread a lot more rapidly. That research, I think, was applied in the watershed shoreline protection. But
yeah, Amanda, I realize that there's a lot of different things you can do to kind of reduce pollution from a typical home. But is there one or two things that kind of rise to the level of the biggest problems, or the thing that people should be made aware of that cause the biggest problems?
It's really pet waste and septic systems.
Oh yeah, I could see septic systems is yeah, but that's do you know, has there been progress made in people kind of having them tested more often, or that seems like a real difficult problem to get a handle on?
It is, especially because we don't have, Ingham County has point of sale, but not the other counties. So we don't even see that much data. But yeah, in Clinton County and Eaton County, it's a real issue. People just don't even know that they have a septic system.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I've always kind of, occasionally I get a chance to ask people now. I know they have a septic system, but I say, "Do you know where your septic system is?" And they go, "Huh," and they have no idea where it is on the property. So I find that interesting. But do you know, has Ingham County run into any problems with the point of sale inspections, or?
They, I don't know about problems. They take a lot of flack for it because
Right.
not everyone enforces that. But I would love to see, I mean, unfortunately, I don't work for a political organization, but those that do have influence would love to see a statewide septic law. And there are some bills right now, so we could see movement on that front. And with more of the Democrats in control, in Michigan, people think it's a real possibility. But I don't know, I can only hope.
A question. And then,
Yeah,
so is the 3 to 5 years the recommended time frame for periodic inspection, septic?
yep, and
Okay.
pumped every 5 years. Inspect
Okay.
every 3 to 5, pump every 5.
Okay. My other question has to do with the household hazardous, yeah, I can't talk. Household hazardous waste issue. Is there, how is it defined? Is it a municipality defines it? Who defines what is considered household hazardous waste? And do we have any designations on packaging that says this is considered a household hazardous waste, treat it carefully, or anything like that?
I think they do have to have the hazardous symbol on it, manufacturers do. Oh, I didn't realize that's what Morgan's title was. Thank you, Lori, for putting that in the chat. Yeah, we've been working with her a lot. Yep. Household hazardous waste was not defined in the survey, just examples of common hazardous wastes were given.
Okay.
Which was, it included fertilizers and products with oil. I'm not remembering. It was pretty descriptive though. They had like 6 or 8 things.
But we don't have any, there's no protocols in place to
No,
say, like, a skull and bones means this, or, we don't, okay. Well, there's another place to work on it, huh?
yes. Yeah, good point.
I'm having trouble believing that pet waste is more of a culprit than like large expanses of impermeable surfaces, like big parking lots or roads, or even roofs, in terms of stormwater pollution.
Well, I'm specifically talking about things that
You can do.
yes, behaviors of people. Yeah, so that you're right. That would not be included. Yeah, by far the impervious surfaces are our biggest problem and why stormwater runoff is such a factor of pollution. It's because of all those hard surfaces.
So in terms of things a community can do or wants to do, I mean, I think Meridian's looking at its landscaping ordinance. We did the green infrastructure audit,
Mhm.
kind of promoting alternative landscapes, and it just seems like there's a lot of opportunities that have not been fully addressed, but are maybe in the works.
Yeah, I would
Um,
have to agree. And our Montgomery Jane project, which is causing so many construction problems in the region, yes, is going to make a huge difference in the amount of pollution in the Red Cedar River. I mean, hundreds and thousands of pounds of pollution every day. Solely because of green infrastructure.
Do you
Yeah.
know how close they are to finishing the drain? By any chance?
Parts of it are gonna be finished in 2025, so yeah, it's not very far out in the future. We should definitely take a tour, and I will definitely, yeah, let you guys know about that, and we should all go. And I saw that Minmiac has a special relationship with the drain commissioner, Pat Lindeman, who's in charge of the Montgomery Drain project, and they have an annual fundraiser, which is at his house. So if you're curious, I think that'd be a great place to learn more. I think it's June 2nd. Nope, I'm sorry. Oh, it's on, for some reason, it's on the holiday, June 19th. But I'll pass along any other opportunities for updates on that Montgomery Jane project. But that's awesome that you guys are looking at your ordinance in Meridian Township.
Brian, what's the status of that landscape ordinance, or the timing on that? And
Right now, it's a very nebulous, high-level staff looking at.
Did you say it was nebulous?
Thank you, Sarah. That's the dumbest thing I've done today. It's early. It's a very high-level staff. We haven't even begun to think of anything to take to the planning commission. Quite frankly, we're at this point, we're kind of looking at landscaping as we're looking. The main effort is our off-street parking ordinance, and we'll be looking at landscaping related to that. If you're talking about a larger, all-encompassing landscape ordinance, that might springboard after that. That is a moving target, though, and don't hold me to anything that I just said. We are in no way, shape, or form prepared to take anything public,
Okay.
and there is no timeline. We are looking, I'd say that publicly. I'll tell the planning commission all the time. We are looking at the off-street parking ordinance. There was a staff meeting on it a couple days ago, as a matter of fact, looking at like where our edits and proposed edits and things are going, but we're not there yet.
I thought in looking at this data, it really pointed towards another project I know Sarah's been working on and that I'm interested in is educating people about environmentally friendly lawn care companies and their practices. And the survey data really pointed to people being willing to do that and looking for that information. So
Amanda, I have a
that's
flyer for that the
awesome.
MSU students helped make. So I will send that over to you, and I'm going to start canvassing with it and putting it out places.
Perfect.
It's cute. It looks good.
that could be a
I
good
would
thing
love to
to
see-
to give out at the environment or at the Planning a Native Meridian Day at the farmer's market.
Yeah, and then I also plan to mail it to like lawn care to just encourage them to possibly say to their people that they do lawn stuff for, like, instead of blowing your leaves, we'll just mow them or whatever.
I apologize. I'm bowing out early. I got a person at the counter asking a pretty heavy question, so I'll see you next week.
Okay.
Thank you, Brian.
So yeah, I'm working on that.
You're gonna mail them to lawn cares to encourage them to adopt.
Just encourage the idea of, instead of blowing your leaves, we're just gonna mow them and see what they do. I mean, that's a perfect place to try to encourage them to just do that for their clients and stuff. So we'll see.
Okay.
We might want to just take a look at that if you want to share it is it possible to attach it to the chat?
I will,
I'd love to see that.
let me see if I can
Yeah.
find it, because I got it in email from the students, so hold on. Let me see if I can find it.
And I don't know what your resources are, but maybe I can help in your efforts.
Yeah, we've had a number of
That'd be
people,
awesome.
Bob, what's Bob's last name? Who consults with landscape professionals and teaches landscape professionals and may be also a way to get the word out, but also provide some general editing or third level editing. I love the idea of sort of a kid feel to it, but I think it's also, I want to make sure there's no major myths that are promoted.
Right.
I'm not questioning the legitimacy. I just think it's worth another review before we promote it widely.
But yeah, maybe if maybe I could use that piece to reach further into Eaton and Clinton counties. If you're gonna be covering Ingham. Or are you just probably focusing on the township?
Okay, I have it, sorry. I'm, for who I am doing this through, it's the whole Greater Lansing region.
Right, okay.
Hold on, I'm trying to share it. Oh, hold on. There it is. So mine, this is the older one, so, and I can't find the newest one, but it at least gives you a sense of what it looks like. But the text had to be adjusted a little bit so that it's not perfect, but it's just fun to look at because I think it's really cool looking.
Oh, yeah.
So the text, like I said, the text has to be a little bit adjusted with some things, but and actually I told them to put their logo on there, so it has a logo of MSU Social Work on the bottom, because
Hmm.
they're the ones that actually created the flyer. So
Don't let us bureaucrats ruin your initiative, but I'm sure you'll get some comments from this group if you're looking for them.
sure. I mean, I told them I needed the file, and they created it, and it was part of their school project, and they could only put so much time into it. So I have the file, so I can adjust it, I can change text, I can do whatever I want to it, so. But we're in the process of, they just presented on it at their yesterday, or the day before, no, yesterday, for their school project. And so now they're kind of done with it, and I can take it and do what I want with it. So
One of the things that Tri-County has done really well is through the mywatersheds.org, sort of created a number of flyers and promo pieces that can be distributed at various times of the year, and they're customizable too, which I believe. So
Yeah,
kudos
seasonal
to
tips.
Tri-County for those. But I like the idea of expanding on that, and when we see opportunities. We had about 5 more minutes. What other questions, comments related or not to Amanda's presentation? And thank you so much, Amanda, for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I wonder about is I could see how you can get the businesses and homeowners to use better materials, with respect to lawn care. But I think part of the problem, right, is that we may, on the average, do more lawn care than we need to. But convincing the businesses, or even, the education that businesses do with the general public, that, you got to treat things 4 times a year, or, just kind of overdo it. Because I would think that, I don't know how to deal with this, but we probably are doing more lawn care than we really need to.
well, and John, I had that thought yesterday when I was driving past some big, very large lawns, and I thought, what if we were to just give them some information to encourage them to don't not mow, but just maybe make part of your lawn, in some circles or something, some native, or just let it grow grass or something. Because I think there's a lot of people that think that they need to, well, and it gets complicated with the township, like, but if it's intentional, maybe encourage them to not mow everything, make it so that it looks like it's taken care of. But in particular, I went by this certain lawn and I was like, it does not need to be fully mowed. So sorry, I got somebody at the front door.
Probably someone selling lawn service.
Well,
Yeah.
East Lansing tried the no mow May last year.
Yeah, I was hoping to get an update from Cliff on how that went, because the council was going to discuss whether they were going to do it again this year.
I was hoping that too. I haven't heard yet.
We do have an
Amanda-
go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I know this is geared more towards, local residents and things, but I was just curious with regard to runoff from, impermeable surfaces. I'm thinking highways and more state-owned land like that.
Mhm.
Is there any movement or any talk, like with MDOT, about planting native rather than, grass that has to be mowed along the expressways?
I I feel like we are seeing a lot more, yes, filter strips with new construction. So not of the kind of retrofitting and going back and creating those, but yes, I feel like there's a much stronger emphasis with new construction. We try and talk to them about it.
This, this might be a little out there, but if we are going to do our greenways remapping effort, Norm mentioned focusing on some of those or identifying some of those highly impactful sites that are important to preserve, whether because of biological diversity or maybe because they're filters for some of this runoff. And likewise, maybe there are some ways to identify some potential green infrastructure improvements or gaps that might need to be filled. Right now, a new development, we're required to handle that stormwater on site, but at the older developments may get off the hook on that. And so if we can identify maybe opportunities to rebuild that green infrastructure to reduce that pollution from the impermeable surfaces. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here about ways that greenways redo might be useful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Any other parting comments for folks? I know next week we're going to have a dialogue with EV owners about their experiences with electric vehicles. Hope to see you back then.
Thanks. I shared that with our staff, so hopefully you'll get a couple more.
May 1st is an open dialogue, so if you have a topic you'd like to suggest or a guest speaker, we want to follow up with No Mo May. That was a pretty lively session a couple weeks ago. Otherwise, we'll see you all next time, unless anyone has any other parting comments. Thank you very much. Oh, go ahead. Yep. Thanks. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.